Unlike some of the other games in this collection, hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Thanks for joining me today as we take a look at the King of the River mode in Mario Party 7, which by the way, might be my favorite Mario Party of all time and is definitely my favorite Mario Party on the GameCube. King of the River, as Toadsworth would explain if I were to let him, is a mode all about playing minigames and lasting as long as you can and getting as many points as you can by performing as well as you can against AI opponents. It is certainly one of the more challenging modes in the game and sometimes actually creates real tension. I appreciate this mode because of the fact that you actually have to put some serious effort into it at times. As a kid, I loved playing this mode, but I haven't touched it in years, so let's see if I'm still any good. Each of these stages involves a spear guy threatening my, I guess, boat slash inflatable life raft thing with a spear, and as you can tell, I've got 3 lives up here on the top left, and if I don't make it through the whole section by losing too many lives, I actually can game over, which makes this Mario Party possibly the only GameCube Mario Party where you can officially get a game over. I think what cracks me up is that Toadsworth asks me what I want to do, and I have to decide, like, if I want to bail out, which if I do, just ends the game. So here we go. Everybody look out. I'm going to skip the rules because I'm pretty familiar with how this one works. Here we go. So the idea is that I have to come in first place to actually, like, finish the challenge. Now, usually, I don't have much trouble with that. I've always enjoyed this minigame, and there's kind of a pattern to it. Like, it changes a little bit, but not all that much. Honestly, I could save more time if I would stop jumping, but I'm a little nervous about it. Yep, there we go. I waited a little too long there, but that's okay. That's seriously gonna hurt. Alright, well the good news is the computers are even more incompetent at this than I am, so I still have the ability to hold it together, and it looks like I'm gonna come out on top. No new record, but I still win by a long shot, so that's a good start. Nice. I don't know if I ever actually gamed over as a kid, so if I do that live on YouTube, I'm gonna be really embarrassed. Now, this minigame is interesting for me because I have to, like, remember to keep an eye on the notes I've actually collected, and because they fall in such random locations and sometimes I'm fighting other people for them, it can actually get kind of nerve-wracking. Like, you wouldn't think a minigame where all you have to do is collect random shapes could be quite so intense, but honestly, it has its moments. Obviously, this is not one of them because I creamed the AI. It doesn't actually, like, explain. It doesn't actually explain, like, why that minigame is selected. Like, that's just what I end up with. And as you can tell, some of them are 1 versus 3 minigames, and the AI characters can change drastically. The idea, for me, my preferred strategy is to just obliterate. There we go, like that. Jello strategy guides to beating various minigames. / anecdotes. Okay, Royal Rumpus is probably one of the more iconic dual minigames in this particular Mario Party. I mean, you get to squash Goombas. What's more iconic than squashing Goombas in a Mario game? Now, the idea is that you gotta squash more than your opponent, which I am not doing a great job of. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I got so used to talking about it that I actually lost. So you can see the little smoke coming off the boat, and Toadsworth is just like, oh, that's too bad. Next. It's okay, though. I get another chance in the form of mad props. Now, this minigame is difficult to control, and by difficult to control, I mean, unless you practice it a lot, you're never going to be, like, really good at it, mostly because the control scheme is intentionally made awkward along with the current in the game, and by current, I mean the way the water does this. The short draw distance, though, more specifically, how much the camera lets you see at a time is what really makes this minigame tough. Like, if you could see everything ahead of you, it wouldn't be a problem, but they make you guess and figure it out, and that's, you know, that's kind of what adds the longevity to the game. This would be a really straightforward course if you didn't spend the whole time trying to figure out where you were going next. So, that's just my food for thought. And I did not get a new record, but I came pretty close, which isn't bad for somebody who spent the whole minigame talking about it. For some reason, Toad is just my selected opponent.
Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary.
So that takes care of that guy. And then Toadsworth just refreshes your lives. I don't understand why he didn't do that earlier if he could, but he helps now, so that's great. It doesn't explain why the spear guys are so antagonistic about me being here on the riverbed, but now I get to fight Waluigi, and it's always a good time when you get to fight Waluigi. You really have to rely on Ricochet to win that minigame. Alright, here we go. Pokey Pummel. This is just a straight up button masher, which means there's not much in the way of strategy except push A like crazy.
Finish!
Alright, Fish and Chiefs. This one is wild because you gotta swim away from... It's another one of those river minigames where your biggest obstacle is not having a perfect view of what's ahead of you. So you gotta kinda gotta play your cards in a way that makes it easier for you to make a retreat in the event that something starts to go wrong.
Finish!
Waluigi, that's rude. I was trying to explain the minigame in more detail and you just lost. La Bamba. Alright, one more spear guy. You know, the funny thing is the spear guy is the bad guy, but the AI opponents are doing all his work. Like, I want to know what kind of contract these guys have to make this work. You know what I'm saying? So this is one of those minigames where you kind of have to rely on the AI being less competent than you, which unfortunately doesn't always happen. Like, there's a limit to how much I can do to influence their actions, so you just kind of have to hope for the best.
Finish!
Like that. That was perfect. Ah, here we are, Koopa Kid. It's kind of funny. He's... Oh, did you see that? There was a typo. Funsticle course. Ay vey. So, I loved Bowser minigames as a kid. What I did not love as much was the fact that I often faced some pretty severe punishment for losing them. So, I practiced these a lot, because on the boards, if you triggered one of these and you could, like, lose a star, that was bad. And in this minigame, there are so many things that can instantly kill you that it's not even funny. Like, you have to be incredibly intentional about where you're going, and again, the camera is not here to help you. Thankfully, the Koopa Kids are not nearly as aggressive as they could, or maybe even should be, but it's still more than enough to make your life difficult if you're not cautious. Like here, the nice thing though is you can memorize this path, because it's always the same. And unlike some of the other games in this collection...